All right, hello everybody to the announcement for the 7th annual 1545. We are all excited here. I'm Hammerhead, and joined here I have Mr. Rico KSB and Ad129.
What's up?
What's up? All right. So we've had many world records. Oh, are you gonna?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So we've had many world records since our last event. So our first world record was SM64. The previous world record was held by Cheese, with a 139.50. It is now held by Ouija with a 137.35. SMS by SB. Previous world record was a 253.57 and is now a 252.41. Galaxy 1 held by J. The old world record was 512.32. The new world record is a 508.17. And Galaxy 2, the old world record was held by J and it was a 854.56. The new world record is a 841.55.
Nearly
Moving on to
about 13 minutes for that, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
yeah. Even for a category as long as SMG2, I feel like that big of an improvement is just staggering.
Alright, moving on to rare. Kazooie, there have been no changes. The world record is still a 156.32 by Asmi. Banjo-Tooie is still a 416.15 by Falcon. And DK64 still has no change with a 510.47 by Connor.
So the Sprachfecta has had a large amount of world record improvements. So for Crash 1, the former world record was 102.28 by Tet W. He has improved that to 101.24. And I think the biggest significant thing to mention here is that since the last 1545, Crash 1 has actually had a new skip, which is crazy for how optimized the game is. But we discovered a skip at the end of last year that cut out the revisit to Rolling Stones, and that saved about a minute. So that's a huge amount of the time save on that world record. For Crash 2, the record last year was 109.09 by Super Boom Fan. It is now 108.34 by Stewart. This is huge for a couple reasons. The first one being that Stewart, I believe, was the one who broke the 108 barrier in Crash 2. It had been at 109 for a couple years by that point. So he was the one who got it down to the 108.34. And Stu also previously held the world record before Boomfan did, back in 2016. So it's really awesome to see that 6 years after that, he's come back and just shown that he still is a dominant force in Crash 2. And then Crash 3, this is a big one because it's very recent. It was, I think actually it was last week, correct me if I'm wrong, but Burgerlands 2 held the world record with 159.31 for almost 5 years. But last week, Potty came in and got a 159.20. So I believe that was the longest standing PS1 Crash Trilogy record, and it finally got beaten. That's really awesome to see.
All right, and then heading into Spyro 1. Last year, it was a 121.02 by Daleman. And this one was actually pretty recently, too. Dale finally got the 120 in 120, a long time goal of his that he finally got. So that's pretty huge. It may be like the last minute barrier we see in this game. But it looks like he's still pushing this and still wants to bring this time down even more. For Spyro 2, there's no change in it. It's still a 132.57 by Blunt Bows. I do think he will return to this at some time because I think he does want to bring this record down, but we will see. And then Spyro 3, time still a 252.56 by Nitrovsky. There he is in the chat. I could see him. Hi, Nitrof. How are you doing? But yeah, as we get into the multi-game runs here.
The 3D Mario 602 has had a couple world records. One of the recent ones was during the last event, which is December 2022. The previous world record before that was a 1936.35 by Oddme. It is now a 1914.58 by Oddme. The Rarebird 301 has had no change, and it's still held by Falcon with a 12:19.56.
So this was actually, I think this was like earlier this week. The 305% record in Crash got beaten by Klaxi. The previous record was 441.15 by Rex, and that stood, I think, for about 2.5 years. And it's noteworthy that Rex had like a several minute lead over second place at the time, which was myself with a 445. So Rex's time was definitely very solid, but Klaxi, like, he announced his retirement and then very shortly after said that, hey, things in my life changed, I'm gonna come back. And then he just did a 305 and got a 438 and beat Rex's time by like 2.5 minutes. So that's just crazy.
And moving on to the Spyro 337, no change to that, still a 6:18.21 by Nerf. And now the sum of the 1545 world records is now a 39:39.23. Broke through that sub 40-hour barrier. So as we get into the team stats here, we worked hard on making these teams as balanced as we possibly could be, and the range of estimates is 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So lowest team estimate is 46:10.23, and the highest is 46:13.05. So this is going to be an exciting race. There's no clear front runner in any of the teams. Anyone's race. People could still PB. So hopefully we get a good race, and hopefully it comes down pretty close.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job of the balancing because we actually had to do it twice because we had a team comp set up, and the time difference I think was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and then a few days before, someone announced they had to drop because they just couldn't make the date we had, so we had to kind of scramble and piece together the teams again, and somehow we managed to still hit a 242 range. So I think we did a really good job of the balancing.
Yeah, it's really insane that we were able to keep it so really close.
Yeah, so we have across the 4 teams we have 41 individual runners, including 14 newcomers, which is great that we're still having so many new people just interested in this event. Of the 41 runners, 3 of them have participated in all but one of the events, and only 2 runners have participated in all 7. And I just want to say, before we get into the teams, we did get a lot of submissions, and there was no way that we were going to be able to include everybody. So if you did not make the cut, just please understand it wasn't personal. We just did everything that we could to the best of our abilities to balance things out. So I just wanted to put that out as a warning.
Yeah, and one thing I like about these teams that there's not a whole lot of people running 2 games this year, mainly in the Sprash stuff, but between like the Mario and Rare, I think the vast majority, maybe just like one person is running 2 games.
I think every single Mario runner is only running 1 game because we got a large amount of Mario missions.
Yeah, we got a lot.
All right. So the moment we've all been waiting for. Here's Team 1. Team 1 running SM64. We have King J. We have Jukatox running Super Mario Sunshine. Galax V running Galaxy 1. Cubic running Galaxy 2. Dalt running Kazooie. We have Gogo running Tui. Gogo is one of the two people that participate in every single 1545 and is the captain for Team 1. We have Corncob running DK64. We have Rico running the Crash 315% for Team 1. 305, sorry. 315 is NST. My bad. We have Sin running Spyro 1. And then we have Nuke running Spyro 2 and 3. What do you guys think about this team?
Well, I guess I could talk about myself in a not self-centered way. So I am one of the three, I believe, that has run in 6 of the 7 events. The only one I missed was the first one. As far as me running the trilogy, it's kind of become a 1545 tradition at this point that I just end up running a Crash 305, which stemmed from my first year where I subbed in for my team's Crash 1 runner, and it kind of just stuck where I think there's only been 2 years where I haven't run the trilogy. There was 1 year where I just didn't submit Crash 3, and then 1 year where, like, for balancing reasons, I just couldn't do Crash 1. The funny thing is, about a week ago, I mentioned on Twitter that I was retiring Crash 2 and how I've done everything I wanted with the game and I just didn't want to really run it anymore. And then when we were going through the team balancing, it just made the most sense for me to run Crash 2. So the tradition is alive, and I guess that's the shortest retirement in Crash 2 ever.
I would say for the Mario block, it's really good. King J, who finished the first ever 2405, which includes all the 9 3D Mario games. He's a really good runner at SM64. Jukatox is also a top SMS runner. Dominant in any percent, but also in 120. Galax V is also really good at Galaxy 1. And in Cubic, has 10 in Galaxy 2, which is a really hard thing to do. So I commend him for getting that. As for Rare, Daltz has a 208 in Kazooie, which is really good. Gogo has a forget his time exactly, but sub 430, I think, which is insanely difficult to get. So, and then Orin also has sub 6 in DK, which is something that I'm still striving to get because it's insanely difficult.
I think a lot of these runners are also, this is their first year.
Oh yeah,
because we have Jukatox, Galax V, Cubic, Dalt, Sin, and Nuke. This is all their first 1545.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Team 2. Running SM64, we have It's Beeve. SMS, we have I'm Zacky Wacky. Galaxy 1, we have MKK.com. SMB2, we have Galactic, who was also serving as the captain. Running Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, we have Nade the Great. DK64 Aphonium, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Running Crash 1, we have Awesome. Crash 2, we have Chaotic Aether. For Crash 3 and Spyro 3, we have Bregerman. For Spyro 1, we have Aldeezy. And then we had to do it. We had to put the Aethers together again. Aether Strider is running Spyro 2. All right, what do you guys think about this team?
I think it's just fate that both of the Aethers are on the same team. I think when we were doing the balancing, I just pointed it out and said, hey, that's kind of funny. And then someone pointed out that also happened last year. Yeah. So it's just fate. I think this is the only team that has 11 runners instead of 10 as well, which is kind of funny coincidence.
Yeah, I know Galactic had a really good SMG2 time, I believe sub 9, and PB'd last year in the 1545, so maybe again. Pause.
Yeah, Galactic, sorry. He has second place in 242 and third in greens. So he has potential to PB. I really hope he does. Nade, I know he's the former world record holder for both Kazooie 100% and Tui 100% Xbox. So he's still pretty strong on those. Alphonium also has sub 6 in DK. So I would say the rare block is really strong along with the 602 block.
All right, let's move on to Team 3. Team 3 running SM64, we have Exprelli. Running SMS, we have Oddme. SMG1, we have Gamut. SMG2, I Have No Life. Running Kazooie, we have OG Big. Running Tui, we have Schlongster, who's also serving as the captain for Team 3. Running DK64, we have Zernicus. We have Super Sphere running Crash 1 and 2. We have me, Hammerhead, running Crash 3 and Spyro 3. And then lastly, Mr. Dylan J. Fox running Spyro 1 and 2.
All right. Obviously the 602 block is pretty stacked. Exprelli doing SM64 it's one of his best games, I would say.
Yeah, and Exprelli has been popping off in SM64. I keep seeing posts in the PB channel in the Discord.
Yeah. Oddme, he's done all, and he also has both 602 world record and 1862 world record, which adds on 602 with 3D World and Super Mario Odyssey. Oddme says that SMS is his best game.
Yeah. On the Crash side, I want to bring up Super Sphere. For one, this is his first year doing the 1545, and also he's fairly recent to the Crash speedrunning scene. I think he's been running the games for only like a year or two now, but he's already gotten very solid times in all three games. I believe he has a 116 in Crash 2 and a 119 in Crash 1, and those are both very respectable. He puts a lot of work into these games, and I'm super excited to see how he does in this event.
Yeah, and I know Dylan's been working hard on that Spyro 1 and 2 grind. I think near sub 2 in Spyro 2, and I think it got a 142 in Spyro 1. Both those games.
Yeah. For rare, Xenernicus, who has had the former world record in 101 and 64, he could pop off. I can see him popping off in this event. Schlongster doing 2E. I can see him get a massive PB, because he also has the world record for the 301 any percent, which is its own challenge in itself. So yeah.
All right, my thoughts on the Crash 3 runner: trash. Anyways, all right, we'll move on. Last but not least, we're gonna have Team 4. That's me. It's me. Last but not least, we have Team 4. Super Viper running SM64. Joe Cool running SMS.
AKA Joe Warm.
AKA Joe Warm, that's what it was submitted as. We have Bacon Guy running SMG1. We have Castle running SMG2, also serving as a captain for Team 4. We have Eric's running Kazooie. Toyomana running Tui. We have Ad running DK64 and Spyro 1. We have Joey running Crash 1. We have Player Game SK running Crash 2 and 3. And we have Bomber Crash running Spyro 2 and 3.
I think the main person I want to point out here is Joey. Joey is very, very new to speedrunning Crash 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think his first submitted run was this year in March, I believe, if I remember what I saw when looking into it. And he is already 8th place in Crash 1 100% with a, I don't even remember, it was like 108, 106, something like that. This guy is good for how short of a time he's been running.
Super Viper, he's done every single event except for one. Joe Cool is I would say, top SMS runner, and also one of the most favorite members of the multi Mario community. Bacon is a newcomer, but I can see him popping off in Galaxy 1, and in Castle as sub 10 in Galaxy. As for Rare, Eric's has a 220 in BK, if I remember, but he is in the BK tournament from Banjo Race, so he has been lowering his times. Toyomana has been popping off the past year with Tui. I've seen his times go down like much lower, and I am excited to see how he performs. As for me, I would say DK is my strongest game out of all the 1545 games. So I would probably pop off there along with Spiral 1, which I'm slowly getting better at. I have a 220 currently. So yeah.
I also think it's neat that I think you're the only runner who is doing one game from two different of like the multi-game runs. Like we have Bregerman doing Crash 3 and Spyro 3, which is kind of like that, but the Sprash Vector is generally considered one thing. So you're the only one doing like a Sprash game and like a Rareware game, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and Bomber Cash is bringing in the best Spyro 3 time to the 1545 relay this year by a very large margin. I think it's got a 307.
Yeah, very, very strong time in Spyro 3.
All right, well, those are the 4 teams for the 1545 this year. We're very excited to have this. So, what is coming next for all the teams here? So, after the stream right now, we're going to be placing you into the teams in the Discord. Go there, talk with your team, bond, banter. Maybe you could do a practice 1545 in the meantime. I don't know. I'm not your boss. Do whatever you want. We will be going through the team. Oh, actually, that's Rico's part. Go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, so we randomly rolled to have the team colors selected in the order of 2, 1, 4, 3. At least that's what Hammerhead said. I'm just gonna believe him.
I did a wheel spin for all of them.
Yep. So this will be the order that the team colors are picked. That's not like super pressing compared to team name, but ideally sooner rather than later, it'd be good to have your team color picked out. And then, team names need to be submitted by June 25th, which is in 9 days, if I did my math correctly, which I can't promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure you get your team names figured out. Just deliberate amongst your team members, and then the captains can just tell us. Try to keep it reasonable. We will veto something if it's just too ridiculous or out of line. But yeah.
All right, and then. Last thing, either the last days of June or early July, I will be premiering a video that I've been working on for the whole year. It's called The Full History of the 1545, and it will feature the complete history, I would say, from how it started to every single event that has happened at MCSN, and I'll also be talking about the solo 1545 journey and how that has improved and like grown. So yeah, last days of June, early July. So expect that to be premiered.
All right. Well, want to thank everyone for showing up today. Hopefully, everyone is excited for the relay. It's happening in just about a month, so get your practice in and get to know your team, and hopefully we all have fun. Do we have any potential raid targets that we can send you all to?
Let's check.
Schlongster's live.
On my end, I see. Oh, actually, I've got a really good one. So this is tangentially related to the 1545, but Elite is a Crash Bash runner who last night just got the world record with Brio, who is not the optimal character.
Oh,
So I think that'd be a cool person to raid.
I don't know. Let's see how chat feels.
yeah. So we could raid Schlongster or Elite. What are you guys thinking?
I feel like we should probably rate Schlong since he's a team captain.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Works.
It's Schlongster 7, right?
Yeah.
All right. I hope
Let's see.
I spelled that right. I did not spell it right. Anyone want to post it in chat for me, and I could just copy paste it? Oh, okay, I put a C in there. All right, thanks again, everyone, for showing up. Make sure you're in the Discord, talk with your team. Oh, and one last thing is team captains will be responsible for getting the schedule sorted out, so just get that ready beforehand. But yeah, hopefully y'all have a good weekend, and we will see y'all in the Discord. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.